sound.
Hi guys, welcome back to 72nd part of the Arduino tutorials. In one of our previous video, we have worked on water level float switch sensor, in which we learned the basic working principle, interfacing with Arduino and detecting the water level. So in today's video, we'll extend that learning and make a real-time application project, which is water tank, autofill and cutoff system. So in this project, we have to build a system where it continuously checks for the water level. Once the tank gets empty and the water reaches to the bottom sensor, we have to switch on the pump. And once the tank gets full and reaches the top sensor, we have to cut off the water pump. For making this project, you need Arduino board, two water level float switch sensors, one for full and other one for empty detection, a water pump. I have this 12 volts one. You can also use smaller pump. To activate this pump, a 5 volts relay module, and as a power supply for the pump, I'll use this 12 volts LiPo battery. I purchased all these project components from flyrobo.in. They have very huge collection of components and the prices are also reasonable compared to other platforms. Make sure you explore their products. I'll leave the link in the description box. Moving on to the connections. First, I'll take one float sensor. This will be placed at the top of the tank and used to detect water full status. In this, one pin goes to Arduino ground and other one to digital pin 2. Next, I'll take the second float sensor, which will be placed at the bottom of the tank, and this will detect water empty status. In this, one pin goes to common ground and other pin to digital pin 3. For the relay module, the VCC and ground goes to Arduino 5 volts and ground, and the control input pin goes to Arduino digital pin 4. On the other side of the relay, we have to connect the pump and the power supply. So the positive terminal of the pump directly goes to the positive terminal of 12 volt supply. The negative terminal of the pump goes to common pin of the relay. The negative terminal of the power supply connects to NO terminal of the relay. That's all the connections. You can get the circuit link from the description box. So we'll start with the programming. Before watching this, if you have already watched our previous video on float sensor basics and interfacing with Arduino, you will feel this code very simple. So make sure to check out that video. So here I have already written the code. We'll just go through the flow how it works. So at the declaration, I have defined some macros, motor off and on with values 0 and 1. And next we have pin declarations. So one sensor will be at the top of the tank. For that I have given full sensor pin and connected on digital pin 2. And the sensor at the bottom, which is empty sensor pin, it's connected to pin 3. and we have relay on pin 4. So I've declared one more global variable, motor state, and by default, I'm keeping this value to 0. In the setup function, I'm setting mode of both the sensor pins as input, so first and second sensor, and the relay pin mode will be output. And also, I'll keep the motor off by default using relay pin. So at last in the loop, first we are reading the data from both the sensors using digital read function and storing on two separate variables, full sensor data and empty sensor data. Further, to check the sensor data and to activate or deactivate the pump, instead of if statement, I'm using switch case, so which gives more optimized code. So switch off motor state, since I'm initializing with 0, will come directly to this case where I'm making the motor off. And further, using if statement, I'll keep checking whether tank gets empty. For this scenario, the sensor at the bottom should be true and the sensor at the top should be false. So as soon as we detect this, we have to turn on the motor. So I change this variable to on. So next time we will enter into the second case. So here I'll activate the relay so that the pump gets activated. And further, using if statement, I'm checking if the water gets full. So for this scenario, the bottom sensor will be false and the top sensor will be true. So as soon as the tank gets full, we have to again switch off the motor. So I'll change this variable to off and it will enter the first case. So this keeps repeating every time. So that's it, the code. I'll upload this and show you practically. For further practical demonstration, I have arranged all the components in this setup. So in this, we have Arduino, relay module, and the water pump. And this water bottle acts as a tank with one sensor at the bottom placing upwards and other sensor at the top placing downwards. So the inlet of the pump goes to a water source and the outlet to the water tank. So now I'll power the Arduino board using a power bank and USB cable. Initially, there is no water in the tank, so the system directly activates the water pump. So once the tank gets full and the water reaches the top sensor, the system automatically turns off the pump. Now I'll empty the tank and once the water reaches the bottom sensor, the pump again turns on. So in this way, you can make water tank autofill and cutoff system using float switch sensors. So that's all for this video. For code and circuit diagram, you can visit the link provided in the description box. And for further Arduino tutorials and projects, stay tuned and subscribe. Thank you for watching. We'll be back in the next one.